Now, Neil deGrasse Tyson says in any claim, evidence matters. Evidence always matters. But what happens when it's just one person's word against another's and the stories don't agree? That's when people tend to pass judgment on who is more credible than whom, wrote Tyson, director of Hayden Planetarium in New York City. You notice how people on different sides of the political leanings, when they get caught up, they tend to want evidence. They tend to want time to really sort things out. But y'all notice that if you are a liberal, you're going to get more leeway. People may even forget and forgive. But when you are considered a conservative or a bit to the center, you get caught up in something, you're guilty. You're guilty. And this is exactly why you should never go full liberal. Because you can get Me Too'd just like anybody else can get Me Too'd. And he got Me Too'd in this situation. Now, he hasn't gotten fired. His show hasn't gotten shut down yet because this is relatively new. Okay? Relatively new. And also, these guys who are always about, women's rights and women's empowerment, this, that, and the third, usually are some of the main ones who are out there trying to cop feels on females. They the main ones out here. They're like the main ones out here, doing the Me Too'ing. Let's see. 3 women have come forward with accounts of experiences with Tyson that disturbed them, according to the website Platheos. The most recent episode was earlier this year. Ashley Watson worked briefly as an assistant and driver for Tyson while the show Cosmos was filmed in Santa Fe, New Mexico. She says that on May 16th, as the show was just about to wrap up production, Tyson invited her to join him in his apartment for wine in the evening after work. Watson tells NPR that she went because she thought he wanted to talk about her continuing to work as his assistant when the show moved to filming in Europe. Instead, she says he put on some Nina Simone, opened wine, and began pulling cheese from the fridge. Now, isn't that like a romantic date from hell? Okay? A romantic date that she didn't think she was going to. But I will say this though, like, don't ever go to no man's house. Don't go to his house. If you don't want to sleep with him, if you don't want any flirting going on, tell them you decline. Because what's going to happen is that when you get there, he's going to assume that you're there for other reasons, especially if he's heard things. I'm pretty sure she probably done slept with somebody at that particular studio on that particular show. He found out about it, and he thought that, well, if she's done it with this person, maybe she'll do it with me. I'm just saying. What's that? She recalls that he had taken off his shoes and was wearing a tank top. I remember thinking, this is a lot of skin for me to be seeing on my boss, Watson said. The vibe was just kind of weird. She says Tyson spoke about the stresses of his job and how he needed a release. Later, as she was leaving, she says Tyson said he wanted to show her a Native American handshake that involved feeling each other's pulses and staring in each other's eyes to make a spiritual connection. Watson says she did this for about 10 seconds before was extremely uncomfortable and says she thought to herself, you're supposed to be very smart. Why can't you pick up that I don't want you touching me right now? Neil, man. That is very I wouldn't say, that's very detailed. That is very detailed. Those were some details. You can't make that up. You can't make that up. He wanted to do an Indian handshake where he took her pulse and stared in her eyes, and she said that made her feel very uncomfortable. I haven't heard this before. I never known of an Indian handshake like that, where I mean, maybe y'all have. Maybe y'all have. She also says he put both hands on her shoulders and told her that he wanted to hug her badly. But if he did, then he would just want more. Now that's the pickup line of the year. Watson says she was shaken by the interaction but felt like she needed references and recommendations, so she planned on just working the last few days of the Cosmos filming. So does that not sound familiar, people? Doesn't that sound familiar when you got women who end up sleeping with these producers, and the reason why they don't say anything is because they're trying to advance their careers? Doesn't that sound familiar? So you're basically dealing with a guy who you got weird vibes from, who tried to sleep with you, but you say you're going to work it out anyway. And these will be the same women who years later come back talking about they were Me Too. But why don't you say anything when it happens? Why don't you immediately quit? No, you're more concerned about recommendations. You're more concerned about getting references. You're more concerned about getting to the next job. Let's see. The next night, however, in the car, she said that Tyson told her that she was too distracting to work as a producer. She was so angered by this that the next day she quit and told one of the show's producers why. He asked whether she wanted to file a formal complaint. I just didn't want to make a fuss, Watson said. Instead, they agreed that she would explain her abrupt departure by saying she had a family emergency. In his statement, Tyson said he invited her to his place as a capstone to their friendship, and said he said he had no idea she was uncomfortable. He remembers offering the Native American handshake as it's something he saves for new friends. He says that Watson frequently hugged people on set, and that he declined those hugs on a few occasions, and declared, if I hug you, I might want something more. My intent was to express restraint, but genuine affection. So I guess he had to explain the whole, if I hug you, I'm going to want something more, because she mentioned he said that to her at the place. You know? And he says that she went around hugging other dudes around the set, and he noticed that. He noticed that she's hugging everybody, but him. You know, she's giving all these other guys the flirty hugs, and she's giving him the friend hug. You know how you women give you the friend hug? Some of y'all done had that friend hug from a female. These guys are getting a full-on hug. He's getting the pat. He's getting like the friendly hug. And he said, forget that. He said, forget that. I want the full hug. I don't want the halfway hug. Give me the full hug. I want the full hug. I don't want that halfway. I want the full hug. He said, forget the friend hug. I don't want the friend hug. I want the full hug. You giving this dude the full hug? You might have slept with this dude. That's how it be, man. Look, when a chick is choosing, man, you know, if she ain't choosing you, because listen, women don't really care about, when it comes to like sex, like women don't care about how smart you are, your, how much money you making. It's whether she's attracted to you or not in that particular moment. And she's just not attracted to you, bro, no matter how much you have. He said that's why he was declining them hugs, because she was giving him them awkward, friendly hugs. He wanted a full hug. He seen her hug all these different dudes around the stadium, not stadium, around that place, and he said he got tired of it. He said he's like, damn it, you're my driver. Tyson also said in his statement he did not mean to make a fellow scientist, but this isn't the first one, people. This is one of three. This is the next one. Tyson said in his statement that he did not mean to make a fellow scientist uncomfortable when he examined her solar system tattoo, looking for Pluto. Looking for Pluto. I only just learned 9 years after that she thought this behavior was creepy. He wrote, that was never my intent, and I'm deeply sorry to have made her feel that way. Of course you do, Neil DeGrasse Tyson. Of course you do. The most serious allegation against Tyson is from someone who says that he drugged and assaulted her back in the 1980s when they were both in graduate school. In his statement, Tyson said they dated briefly, but that the alleged assault never happened. Of course it didn't. Of course it didn't. Listen, Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's clear to me that, you're awkward with the ladies, especially ladies who are working under you. Let me tell you something, man. Never try to sleep with, never try to date any women who work for you or work with you, because that's not going to work out. Most of these harassment claims come from work related. Work related. You cannot put yourself in a situation, Neil deGrasse Tyson, that you're dealing with women on the job. Okay? That is the worst place to go and try to find talent. Okay? If you want talent, do it outside of the job. Okay? Because they will use that to fire you. Yeah, no job is worth losing, especially if you're making good money, over trying to sleep with none of the women in the office. I don't care how good they look. I don't care how flirty they are. Keep it there. Keep it there. Because nothing good is going to come of that situation. I promise you. So, Neil deGrasse Tyson, what you got to understand, sir, is that just because you think that because you're an astrophysicist that chicks are going to fall for you like that, bro, if they're not attracted to you, I don't care what you have. They're still not going to deal with you like that. Deal with the women that want you, dude, and don't deal with the ones who work for you.